Hey Goobs and Gabs, and welcome back to MCVR, the series where I really push my migraines to their limits by keeping this headset on for hours at a time. In today's episode, we have a few things we want to do. I want to go grab some concrete powder, sand and gravel, to fill in more of this ground. I only got so much done today, and I want to get a lot more done today. So I'm planning to grab a bunch of sand and gravel, not concrete. And then I also want to grab a bunch of materials for some of the buildings that we're going to be putting in here. Last episode we designed a color palette and I really liked it. Finally, there is a chance that I am going to tear a hole in one of these canyon walls so I can connect the two sides of the canyon. Okay, and first things first, I have to empty my inventory because last time I recorded I decided that I was too lazy to go empty my inventory. I even left in the same spot. So let me just go home real quick, empty my inventory, and we can get started. All right, now that my inventory is empty, I need more food. Ooh, that's not a lot of food. Uh-oh. What about in here? Do I have any food in here? I am not seeing any food. Okay. I have 3 golden carrots left, and I have no extras in my chests anywhere. So I'm going to grab a few shulkers, and I'm also going to grab some of my pumpkins. And where are my melons? Some of my melons, and go up to enchanted estates so I can trade for more food. Oh, it's nighttime. Hello, guys. All right, I got my food. It's not as much as I had hoped, but 50 will do. Let's go return Flower to her home and go to the desert. All right, goodbye, Flower. Okay, so we're actually not going to go to the desert first. We are going to go to the windswept hills, because my shovel is just under half durability, and I know if I get all of the sand for the concrete and the sandstone that's going to be required for the buildings, this thing's going to break. So let's go get the gravel first and then repair the shovel. That is exactly 1 shulker full, and my shovel is on its last legs, which honestly I didn't expect. So really quickly, I'm going to go repair it, and I'll be back for more. My shovel's almost there. All right, perfect. Hopefully you guys can hear me with all this ruckus. All right. Well, I'm at spawn, which is just wonderful. Good thing I know there is a portal over here. That should be shulker number 2 down. I do have a decent amount of durability left on my shovel, but should I be a little silly and go back to the mushroom? Hello, beautiful. My sniffer mushroom. All right. That was very quick this time. To the desert, because I need like 4 shulkers of sand. Okay, I think that's it. We have 2 shulkers of sandstone, 2 shulkers of sand, and 2 shulkers of gravel. Hopefully this will be enough concrete for the canyon. And I'm confident that the sandstone will be enough. Perfect. All right. I stopped at the mangrove biome to grab a bunch of mud because part of the building palette requires mud bricks. So I thought it'd be perfect timing. Anyway, now we can go repair these tools. All right. Boom. Tools are repaired. Now I can go prepare the rest of the resources for this amazing build. Let's see. I want to see about how many resources I have for the housing. We're gonna put the mud in here. Actually, we need to make the mud into mud bricks. Which, what does it take to make mud bricks again? Dirt. Which I honestly don't have that much of it left. Let's see. No? Mud bricks, not here. Mud bricks. Packed mud. Mud and wheat? Okay, all right, let's put this dirt away. Do we even have wheat? Not a lot of it. Here, we might have some in the Victory Industries though, so I can run down and check that. Another thing is, how many logs? Okay, 4 stacks of logs will be fine. I'll take 3, I guess, of birch. And then we need some jungle and acacia. All right. Okay, we definitely have enough jungle. That's amazing. Don't think we're gonna need that much though, so we'll take 3 stacks of that as well. And then we definitely need to go grab acacia, which is no biggie, which means we need to only get wheat for the packed mud. So let's go see if there's any wheat at Victory Industries real quick. Oh no. Yeah, I have no wheat. Okay. So if I get my extra mud and packed mud that I had before and take out what mud I can from here, I should only get 2 extra stacks of mud bricks. Okay, that's it. So let's see. We have just over 7.5 stacks of mud bricks, which honestly for the base isn't bad. I think I'll worry about getting more wheat when I run out. Okay, let's go get 3 stacks of acacia wood and then we'll come home and start farming for some of those azalea leaves. All right. We straight up just need 4 more, or 2 more. I can't count, sorry. But there's a little extra. Boom. 3 stacks and just over. Now, where is my horse? Flower? Why do you always do this to me, dude? There you are. Hello, Flower. Now, all that's left to do is head home and start getting some azalea leaves. So I just spent some time grabbing some acacia wood and getting some azalea leaves. I used 2 shears and got a decent amount, especially some extra flowering azalea leaves. That'll be nice. But with all that, I think we're ready to set this aside. Let me put it in the shulker box that I plan to use and get back to work on filling in the floors. Where's my gravel at? There we go. Okay, so I think we should do half and half. That's what I did last time, and it worked out pretty nice. Boom. That is the last of our concrete powder. Not concrete powder. So we have 2 orange, 2 yellow, and now we have a bunch of concrete to go fill the canyon with. All right, now I could start filling in the right side, but I think I am going to stick with the motion that I've done this entire canyon so far, is finish one side before I move on to the other. All right, now that I think about it, I should probably start with this lower area down here and maybe even do this circle once and for all. All right, circle's done. I kind of exaggerated or not exaggerated, but I went with the cylinder shape. So I kind of topped it off, kind of like a cake, and I like it. And now that I'm here, I can finally deal with that. I realized I did that when I was building this tree. I cannot believe it. Now that that's done, let's move on to this lower path of the canyon that leads to this overhang. So as I've said before, one of the things that concerns me about doing this is just the usage of dirt. I have a feeling that I might need to level an entire plains biome just to get enough dirt for it, which sounds dramatic, but I had to do that on another world that I played with some friends to do a custom biome. Used a lot of dirt, and I'm starting to feel like this is what that's going to turn into. Okay, this little nook is done. Let's go find the next spot. Heck yeah, I feel like I'm getting a lot done so far. This is where the cave's gonna go, but not yet. Oh my god, it's gonna be so nice when this canyon's done and I don't have to keep falling down everywhere. I also need to move that freaking portal, dude. I'm so tired of it. This one's next, I believe. Oh, I missed. What a loser. Everybody laugh. Point and laugh. Another section done. We are cruising. I know I've missed like a big chunk of the top layer over there. Now I ask myself, do I continue with these lower layers going this way and work my way up, or do I go back and start from the beginning? I think the answer is clear. Let's keep working with these lower layers. Is this enough FOV? What am I seeing? 90 is good. Wait, am I even changing anything over here, or is this just the same thing as it was before? That happens, and then we do single, dual, fast, and the first person. And that's where we can change this. There we go. Oh yeah, Quake Pro actually looks awesome. Hell yeah. Don't you guys want to sit around and watch me in Quake Pro? Oh, that took way too long to figure out. I love that. Wait. Okay, so now this affects it. Thank God, finally. Okay. Because I never really considered what would be a good FOV. I don't know if higher looks good. You know, if I go place some blocks. That's a good ring. I like that ring. What if I do this ring with the high FOV? What's that going to look like? Okay. Boom, 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 boom. All right, that looks pretty good. And then we can fill it in, but I'm not going to yet because I want to see what like an 80 would feel like. Because I think 80 or 9 or 85 would be the best. All right, after playing with the FOV a little bit, I personally am completely undecided on what FOV would be the best. Right, everything for me in VR is the same. It doesn't matter. But I don't want you guys watching the video at 40 FOV. I have no idea what it looks like right now, but I'm sure it looks great to you. I don't know if I think Quake Pro would be too much. It is a little silly though. So I'm going to play with FOV of 95 for a little bit. And then later, if I remember, if I'm smart, I'm going to change it. I'm going to lower it down. And then I would like you to tell me which FOV you prefer. Okay, I want to hurry this up though, because I have other things I want to do. All right, quick update. I have completely finished the lower layers of this canyon down here, and it is looking insane. It is weird to see all of my blocks, and unfortunately, there's a lot of sameness to it. It kind of looks weird, I will say, from this angle. But I'm trusting the process, and my brain doesn't like the idea of this not being great. I've spent so much time with this canyon, and I don't know what else to do for the floor if it's not this. And I've already put 6 shulkers of materials into it almost. No, 3? Yeah, 6. 6 shulkers into this almost 6 shulkers into this canyon. And I cannot imagine there being something wrong with it, especially the floor. So I'm going to trust the process, because once I add in some structures, maybe wooden bridges, some buildings, shrubbery, anything, I think it's going to help out a lot. I think what's making it look so weird is there's a lot of the same color palette. It's all reds, all warm colors. So once I start getting those cools, those greens, maybe even those blues, I think it's going to help a lot. Anyway, we are starting to reach a point where we're turning back to the beginning of the canyon. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to run out of materials before I do. I have a full shulker of yellow, and then 1.2k plus 300. So a little less than a shulker of my orange. And I'm almost completely out of dirt. This area alone pretty much took 8 stacks at least. So before I can even finish the concrete, I have to go get more dirt, which I'm thinking about just destroying that area over there, which is a little sad. It's going to look funny, but I think it's going to be for a good cause. We'll see. We'll see. I might not take it from there. I'm so anxious. I have no idea what to do over here. Stop placing things down. I know you're scared. Control your hands, Gabriel. So up here, the canyon meets the top of this mountain. And as you can see, I don't really have anything transitioning the canyon to whatever biome's next to it. I don't know what to do with this mountain yet, but I want to make these into volcanoes. I don't know why. I just think that looks like a volcano. Over here, I've been wanting to do a build that has an oasis vibe to it. And since I already have this rocky canyon, I think it would be perfect to go over here. And down here at the bottom where this grass is, I'm going to put a pit. And the waterfall from the oasis, or at least there could be, I'm going to have a pit. And the oasis over here could lead down to the pit through a waterfall. I think that would look really, really cool. So I could make that area into an oasis. I don't know how big the water would be. That'd be a lot of terraforming. I don't even know what to do the buildings with. There's the volcano here, but with this mountain and with this jungle and with this stony hills over here, I don't know what to do. So I'm literally just going to leave the edges as grass. I'm just going to have it meet the mountain. One thing that I've noticed looks okay to do is when I have a situation, like for example, let's say I filled this in. When I have a situation where it is flat between the concrete powder and the grass, I just get rid of that. So the grass only meets with this a block above, which kind of makes it look like the canyon is grown out of the walls, out of the dirt, which kind of helps. It does not look the best. It's not even that good, but it's something. And done with that ledge. We've got from down there, from down there all the way to this top ledge done. Which means that for this side of the canyon, all we have to do is go through and fill these top 2 layers. Most of layer 2 is done. It's mostly layer 3. But this is the last of my dirt. I'll be back when my dirt runs out and we'll go find a spot to collect some more. And we are out. Not of concrete, as you can see, but of Minecraft's most abundant block. Dirt. Actually, I think stone might be. I'm lying. I'm going to spread misinformation. It's dirt. Now, here's my dilemma. I could easily get dirt. Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. I've been having this dilemma on where to get dirt. Where do I get dirt? I don't really want to do it under here because it's all on slopes. It's going to be annoying. I didn't really want to do it over here because I didn't want this ugly, stony, grassy, dirty area over here next to my beautiful canyon. It's not the most pretty and it doesn't blend well with my canyon, but I didn't want that, at the very least. And then I was like, well, if I do a biome over here, like a cool oasis biome, and I do like a big pond, I would probably need to dig up the dirt anywhere to give it nice space. So I could do it over here and just be okay with the ugliness. Then I had a eureka moment, which I shouldn't have had because it's the most obvious thing in the world. I don't know if I've mentioned it yet in this series, and especially with this canyon, but I have had this huge grassy patch along the base of my canyon. And you may have wondered what my plan is to do with that. I plan to remove all the grass, all the dirt, and all the stone and put one of those fog glass effects where I put a layer of glass, skip a block, put another layer of glass, and repeat that like 20 times, put glowstone at the bottom, and it creates this really nice fog effect. I want to do that with black stained glass. And I need to get rid of all of this grass, which also solves my problem of needing more grass. Before we continue filling in the canyon floor, let me put my stuff away so I can get as much inventory space as possible and go grab some dirt. About 2.5 shulkers of dirt, finally. That actually was not bad. The only reason I stopped and didn't get more because my shovel's getting close to breaking, and I don't really want to go repair it right now. So instead, I'm going to save what durability I have of it for any mistakes I make throughout this building process. Then once I go through all of my beautiful concrete, then I will go through, repair my shovel again, and go grab some more sand and gravel, which I foresee needing a lot of next time. This is kind of heartbreaking to look at. Hold up, let me get a better view of this. Honestly, it's not the ugliest thing I've ever seen. I think the grays look better than the greens, but honestly, I can't tell. Let's see. Let's cover that up. That looks pretty cool. Let's cover that up. Yeah, no, the greens look better. Oh, it's a little sad that all of this stone and all these ores are showing, but soon enough, I will get a wither star, and I will dig out this properly. And it's really nice that I'm actually doing this in this order so I can get all my dirt in. Anyway, with all that dirt achieved, it's time that I go back up here and continue placing all of this concrete powder. Look at that caked up canyon. Ugh. It looks so good. How close we are. I don't know, there's a chance that we can at least fill into the edge of that, but definitely not after. Who knows? That should be the last of the dirt for today's episode. It means I just got a little bit more to fill in for the concrete. Okay, chat. After taking some time to look at this canyon floor, the design of it, the walls, and doing some thinking, I've had an epiphany. Although I do like the oranges and yellows in the canyon floor, it's too much. It's too much of the bright colors, and it looks cartoonish. And at first I liked it, but the more I look at it and the more I fill it in, I think something's got to change. And I have an idea. In a world that I had with a couple of friends, I built this giant tower, and in the floor of it, I had more of like a swirl pattern. I'll put a screenshot of what I'm talking about up above. And I think if I did that here, but with these colors, it might help a lot. Now, the difference between this and the floor that I just showed you is this is only 2 colors. And that floor has, I think, about 4 or 5. So I need different colors to spice it up a bit. And I was doing some testing, and I found that red sand, not the smooth red sandstone that I've been using right here in the floor or in the walls, but just regular red sand that's also affected by gravity, just like this concrete, and then orange terracotta. Now, the good thing about that is I have a decent amount of orange terracotta already, and I think I have some red sand, but we might need to get more. So really quickly, let me go grab some red sand and some orange terracotta, because I know I've got some, and try to show you what I'm talking about. So here we've got some orange, a little bit more orange, a bunch of regular terracotta, which means this is a full shulker. So if I need to, I can just make more. Okay, never mind. I do have 1 piece of red sand, but we're going to need a lot more than that. On the orange terracotta, however, I have some in here, and then I have a bunch of regular terracotta that I can just dye. With the orange terracotta prepared, I'm going to run over to my mesa and grab some red sand, because there's a badlands biome right there. All right. Red sand achieved. My shovel is on its last legs. Let's go repair it, and then I can show you what I'm talking about finally. There we go. All right. Shovel repaired. Red sand achieved. I think we're ready to go back. Can you stop yapping so much? Let's go back. To make this a little easier to start with, I'm going to dig up a bunch of this concrete powder. Okay, let's start like right at the center. So first, I was going to keep it the same way that I had done it before, where I have this like cute little yellow circle, which is why I was considering saving what I had before, outlining it with orange, and then outlining that with red sand, and then outlining that with orange terracotta, and while I'm at it, kind of adding these funny like webbing effect, similar to what I was doing before, but with 4 colors instead of 2. However, I didn't really like the big yellow dots, and so I reversed the pattern. Instead, I started with these larger terracotta circular shapes. And by I started with, I really mean I used a mod in a creative testing world as per usual, and used its tools to create these patterns for me. This is not a sponsorship, but Axiom Mod, I love you so much. And I don't know, this may be too big, but what I had in the testing world were big circles, and it looked really nice on the grand scale, because it's really easy for me to zoom in, since I'm in VR standing on top of the floor, to be like, wow, this is a huge circle. But once I get up on top of a ledge and look down at it, it becomes a lot smaller. All right, now we're going to outline this circle with some red sand and not concrete. Let's get this actually out of here. I totally forgot about this part. This is going to eat up my resources for each circle I do, but having them distributed between 4 blocks will be a little bit helpful. Okay, now that I have this amazing, beautiful, not ugly circle, we are going to start adding a little bit of spice. And what I mean by that is getting rid of a little bit of this, so I can add some extra round shapes to it. One mistake I think I made with the original design is keeping all of the circles completely separate and not letting them play together a little bit. They just want to be friends. They want to hang out with one another, and we can make a couple couples. If I can place any of my blocks properly, that is. Now, we do the same thing and we outline it with some orange concrete, the next lighter color. What I noticed about the pattern that I had generated is it was a little bit thinner than what I had with the red sand. So I'm going to play with that, but if it doesn't look too great, I will thicken it up. I'm not too worried. And then this is kind of where we start putting our yellow concrete pattern. But before I do that, the yellow concrete powder is a fill color. It's what adds the webbing between each of these big circles. So instead of doing what I did before and kind of just filling this in until I feel like going to the next color, I'm going to start somewhere and begin another circle. Maybe this one will be a little bit smaller. Now we have a lot of space between here and there, and then over there, which we will fill in completely with our yellow concrete, which is going to add that nice contrast, and it's finally going to start using up yellow concrete instead of all of my other blocks. Okay, oops, almost forgot a spot. This whole part right here is filled in, and I already like what it looks like down here, but I'm going to take a look from up on that ledge to get a nice view. All right, now look at this. Oh, I guess this isn't the best view. Let me try to go higher. All right, this should work. Drift, don't fail me now. Okay, let's check it out. Now look at that. I'm using blocks that are seen in the walls, but I'm also throwing in these new blocks, and it ties it together so nicely. And you can see a direct comparison with the ledge above it. This is all the old pattern that I had beforehand, and this is the new pattern that I'm going with. And don't worry, like I said, I'm going to tinker around with adding more on the edges, so it's not these huge pools of yellow, but I am liking this, a little splash of contrast here and there. And there's a bunch of losers who want to mess up my day, so I'm going to run away here in a second, despawn those guys. But I think I'm just going to go through the entire canyon floor that I've done already and fill this pattern in instead. That's too close. Hello there. Hello there. I'm going to keep my face as still as possible because, as you'll notice, when I turn my face certain ways, I can kind of trigger things to disappear behind me. It's kind of fun, honestly. Completely erase a chunk of my mountain. Hell yeah. As you can see, the floor has been replaced, and oh my god, I'm loving it so much more. But I will say the old pattern was nice, but given the complexity of the colors in the walls, I think the two-color scheme for the floor was just not hitting right. And then later down the line, when I add the spikes, the pit, the buildings, everything else, they have a very more than 2 block color palette as well. So I'm glad that I did this change with the floor. But with that finally out of the way, I can begin with one of the first tunnels in this canyon. I already have all of the materials I'll need for both the walls and the floor, so it should be met with no surprises. One thing about the tunnel that I haven't really thought about is the lighting. I think for now I'm just going to light it up with torches, but down the line I think it would be pretty cool to have like lanterns or standing torches, some kind of aesthetic, some kind of decoration to it for the torches rather than just placing torches on the walls and floors. Back when I was first filling in this wall, I saw this cute little nook and I was like, okay, I gotta put something here. So I put this cute little sign here, cave here, exclamation mark. I since had to replace the sign because the floor was in the way. But I can finally take it down and start filling this thing in. So I think just like I did, oh man, I should have grabbed dirt, I think. I don't think I have any. I was gonna say, I think the first thing I should do is just as I did with the floor, is probably start with, that works. Probably start with how the floor is going to look. But hey, I did just realize I'm going to have to carve out all of this dirt and a bunch of the stone behind it to get up where I need to go. So I'll get a bunch of materials anyway. But with the entrance planned, where do I put the exit? Should climb up here. Maybe break some of the wall down as well. Maybe that'll look pretty good. Here, let's go see what it looks like on this side. So if the tunnel starts here and it meets right there, feel like either I have to go that way first and then meet up, or I need to push this back because this feels super uncomfortably close. Another cute thing I can do is not just do a tunnel, but like a whole kind of like cavern. But that might be a project later down the line. I don't need to be working on something that complicated right now. Okay, I think it might be a good idea to push it further over this way. Maybe right here would be a better spot. I do not have any instant mining ability right now, so all this stone is going to be annoying. But it shouldn't be that much. It's not going to be that big of a deal. So I'm not too concerned. That looks like a good hole. Hell yeah, we love good holes. Is that too? No, that doesn't look very natural. That doesn't look very realistic, and with this canyon, we're definitely going with what looks realistic. Now that we have the entrance and the exit, or the entrance and that exit, we have to plan out the path it's going to take. I think the idea is to push this way into the wall, while also turning left and going down a little bit. And once I feel like I have this natural, nice curve to it, I'm going to go down there and do the same, except go up and to the right, eventually. Okay, we've definitely gone enough that way and to the left. We could probably start turning around. Before we do, and dig out some of the wall for this, so I know where to go to connect it. And I have a feeling my inventory is going to get pretty full. Alright, definitely not going to be that wide, but I like this path we're taking to the left. Maybe we should see what happens if I keep going up and to the right. Maybe I should go up to my upper tunnel, stand in and see how I feel about it. Maybe I could use the coordinates and see how close I am. Hello! Never mind, I found it. Let's see how close I am. This is where the gravel I dug out is. Okay, wait, that's actually not bad. What? Holy moly, I was almost right on. Now I can connect these two tunnels, or at least just dig a really big hole between them, and see how nice it feels. Okay. That already feels really nice. Up here, at least from this angle, that feels pretty nice. And as I walk down, I think definitely a little bit of a sharp turn, which I can fix by pushing this in a bit more. Then down here, it also looks pretty good. Well, heck yeah. I think that's all I needed. Which means we're pretty much ready to fill in these walls. And the floor. Don't forget the floor. Actually, I might start with the floor. All right, I'll grab a few stacks. Don't think we'll need much. Okay, I think I'm going to mark the edges first. Should I have started with the floors? I don't know, actually, what would have been best. I wanted to start with the floors so I could, at the very least, have a good baseline for the walls. But now that I look at it, I think the walls going in first might give me a better idea, because I don't want to fill in a pattern for an area I don't know how wide it's going to be. Let's fill in these walls and not the floors yet. All right, let's see what happens if I kind of just copy the walls that I put in up here. I kind of feel like I'm going to have a problem with space, but I guess we'll find out. The outline of the walls are in. There we go. And I'm kind of unsure. Is it too small? From this angle, I think it turns a little too fast. I think I need to go more that way. I did not go far enough that way before turning. So we're going to start by mining over here, which means I got to go empty my inventory. All right. Oh yeah, that's much better of a curve. I'm going to quickly clear out the rest of the stone connected to this, do some adjusting as I normally do, and once I have a nice floor plan in, I may get back to you, or I might just zip through the rest of it and get the rest of the floor in. I think I've got the tunnel in a shape that looks great. All I need to do, I'm pretty sure, is just push these ceilings up over here a bit. But we'll see. Although the rest of this feels really nice. I'm glad I pushed this wall in because we're really getting somewhere. With the walls looking absolutely gorgeous, now I'm going to fill in the sand. And done. Honestly, after filling in so much of the canyon floor, this is nothing. That barely took any of my blocks. Let's see about getting this arch in, which might be the hardest part. For that, I'm going to push this wall up. Alright, the ceiling has been pushed up, what I think is enough. Let's get these walls in. Okay. Alright, let's see how this looks. It's kind of subtle. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Like if you stand far away from it, it's not very obvious. What could help is I can already see that torch, the light against the wall. Maybe doing that more, just making it more dramatic later down the line when I add decoration. I could do a nice torch on this wall to make this wall brighter and make it a little more recognizable when you're like looking at it from far away. But I'm wondering if using more of the brights would have been nicer. If I this is gonna look really stupid. If I kind of like switch out a lot of these darks real quick, I'm gonna totally forget what it looked like beforehand. I throw in some lighter colors. Okay, that looks all right. Now if I stand back, is it gonna look nicer? I missed a block. I think it does. Okay, I think I'm going to transition from the darker blocks to the lighter blocks a lot faster than I've been doing. All right, that has been adjusted. Now that I have a nice pattern, I think I can just continue it for the rest of the cave, but let me give it a second glance just to be sure. Okay, yeah, that's a bit better. I might even sprinkle some more orange in, but with this all nice and tidy and about to look very pretty, I think that means I can just keep going and push this pattern all the way to the end, which shouldn't take me too long. Let's get started. Is that it? Am I done? It looks done. It looks filled in. It looks pretty nice. It looks a little dark. Looks a little moody, but it looks pretty cool too. And not only does it look cool, but I have a completely new way to get from here, or this side of the canyon, to that side of the canyon, and to that overhang. Oh, this feels so nice. Hello! With that tunnel finally being done, we are finished with everything I had planned for today. Next time, we are going to fill in the rest of the canyon, and that means I need more terracotta. I'm running low on my orange terracotta, which means another visit to the mesa biome. Before I do that, I need a beacon. I'm so tired of not having Instamine. Not only for the terracotta, but I have some other plans in the next episode that I know I'm going to need Instamine for, or else it's going to take years. So first thing I'm going to do next episode is finally fight the Wither. So with that being said, my name is Goober. Until next time.